My name is Emily Carter, and I never forgot the night Warren Hall showed me that some places on campus are alive with something that shouldn't exist. It was my sophomore year at Clayton University, and Warren Hall was one of the oldest dorms. Built in the 1960s, with narrow hallways and creaking floors that seemed louder at night. I had stayed late in the library, working on a research paper, and decided to take the shortcut through the dorm, instead of walking around the quad. As soon as I stepped into the dimly lit hallway, the lights flickered violently, throwing shadows in strange, jagged patterns across the walls. I could hear Budbane Meiswe, there was said an Owen Libret, matching my pace but always just a little behind. I told myself it was another student or my imagination, but then I saw him, a tall, dark figure, leaning against the wall near the stairwell. His face was obscured in shadow, but his eyes seemed to glint faintly in the flickering lights, locking onto me. I froze as he tilted his head slowly and whispered, "Emily." My blood ran cold. I sprinted toward the stairwell, but the lights died completely, leaving me in darkness so thick I could barely see my own hands. I heard heavy breathing that seemed to echo mine, and something brushed against my shoulder as I stumbled down the stairs, heart hammering. When I finally reached the first floor and pushed through the exit doors into the night air, the campus was silent and empty, but I could still feel eyes on me. The next morning, security footage showed a shadow moving fluidly down the hallway behind me, almost floating, turning its head to watch me even when the camera shouldn't have been able to capture it. The building has its rumors, but that night I realized that Warren Hall still remembers the students who walk its halls after dark, and some things never leave. My name is Ryan Mitchell, and the night I got trapped in Eastwood dorm stairwell is something I will never forget. I was a freshman at Rosewood University, trying to prove I wasn't afraid of anything after hearing stories about the old dorm. It was around 11:45 p.m., and the hallways were empty except for the flickering exit lights. I had gone to grab some late-night snacks from the vending machines, but halfway down the stairwell, I noticed a figure at the top landing, a man, tall and unnaturally thin, leaning against the railing in a way that made his silhouette almost inhuman. When I called out, there was no answer. My footsteps echoed as I tried to descend, but every step seemed to provoke movement above me. The shadow slid down a few steps, keeping pace with me without ever touching the stairs. Then I heard a voice, soft but unmistakable, whispering my name, Ryan. It sounded like it was coming from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. I tried to run, but the door at the bottom landing wouldn't budge. Itwaloked until night. Heart racing, I pounded on the door, while the shadow glided down the stairs toward me, its long arms brushing the walls in a way that scraped the paint. The air grew icy, my breath fogging, and the lights above flickered violently, revealing nothing but the endless dark corridor of the stairwell. After what felt like hours, the light stabilized and the door unlocked, but when I ran outside into the night air, I glanced back and saw nothing. Later, security reviewed footage. The stairwell was empty. Completely empty. But somehow, the sensor lights on the landing detected movement that seemed to vanish into the walls themselves. I never returned to that stairwell after dark, and even years later, when I visit campus, I feel my skin crawl walking past Eastwood dorm. Story 3. The library stalker. My name is Sarah Thompson. And the library at Brighton College nearly cost me my life, or at least my sanity. I was a junior, studying for final exams, and had stayed late to finish a paper in the old West Wing, which closed at 1 a.m. The library was silent, save for the occasional creak of the wood floors. Around 12:50 a.m., I noticed the lights flickering in long, uneven intervals, casting shadows that seemed to stretch and twist across the walls like living things. I was alone, or at least I thought I was, but then I felt it. The unmistakable presence of someone else nearby. Slow, deliberate breathing echoed behind me, matching my own heartbeat. I turned, expecting a night janitor or another student, but the stacks were empty. I tried to focus, telling myself it was nerves. But whispers began to drift through the aisles, unintelligible but urgent, like someone was trying to warn me. My instincts screamed at me to leave, so I grabbed my bag and ran for the exit. When I reached the doors, they wouldn't open. The shadows in the stacks moved, forming elongated shapes that didn't belong to humans. One black form emerged briefly, crouching low, its eyes glowing faintly, watching me. Finally, the doors unlocked, and I bolted outside into the cold night air, gasping. The next day, security footage showed no one entering or leaving the library after closing, but the motion sensors had been tripped repeatedly. On the second floor, moving in ways that made no sense, as if something or someone was stalking me in a pattern that no human could reproduce. I avoid that library at night to this day, and whenever I walk by, I still feel the eyes of something unseen, waiting for the next student foolish enough to study alone after hours. Story 4. The Midnight Text. My name is Daniel Reyes, and the night I received that text changed how I viewed being alone on campus forever. I was a junior at Redwood University, living in a single dorm room in an older building that most students avoided after dark because of its creaking floors and history of strange incidents. One Friday night, I had stayed late studying for an upcoming exam. The building almost completely empty except for a security guard at the main entrance. Around midnight, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "I see you." I laughed nervously, assuming it was a prank from one of my friends, and typed back something sarcastic. But as soon as I hit send, the lights in my room flickered violently. I froze. The old dorm wiring sometimes did that, but this felt different. Then another text appeared. Not a joke. "I'm in your room." My stomach sank. I looked around. Mi dar lo que? But the shut in my room seemed darker than usual, pooling unnaturally in the corners. My room key was in my pocket, yet I felt trapped, watched. I dialed campus security, but my phone kept freezing, the call failing over and over. The texts continued. "Don't turn around. Keep studying." I like watching. The words were sent one letter at a time, almost methodically. I tried to convince myself it was a glitch, some hacker messing with me, until I heard the faint scrape of something across the floor behind my desk. My chair moved slightly, the leg squeaking against the wooden floor, though I hadn't touched it. Panic surged, and I grabbed the desk lamp to swing at the air. The moment my hand shook the lamp, the text stopped. Silence filled the room, heavy and oppressive, as though the shadows themselves were holding their breath. I bolted from the room, not caring about studying, not caring about anyone knowing I had left my stuff behind. I ran down the hallway to the lobby, my footsteps echoing and growing, and saw the security guard staring at me with wide eyes. When I explained, he told me the camera showed something disturbing for nearly 20 minutes. My desk chair had rotated slowly on its own, the shadows stretching toward the corner as if trying to reach me. No one was captured on video entering my room, no forced entry, nothing. I never spent another night in that dorm alone, and to this day, I triple lock doors and avoid staying late in campus buildings. And every time my phone buzzes from an unknown number, my hands start shaking. I still can't be sure it was just a prank. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these terrifying true college horror stories, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more spine-chilling tales. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a scare.